From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reported tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Good evening and welcome tonight. Deadly blast in Gombe kills 19, just 3 days to Christmas. PDP denies mass defection of aggrieved members over conduct of its primaries across the country. Federal government moves to review mining policy to attract more investors into sector. And North Korea threatens to attack the United States over Sony hack controversy.
On business news tonight, the Bank of Industry firms up plans to tackle the funding problems of small-scale industries.
And in sports news, Nigeria representatives Kano Pillars, Eyimba, Dolphins and Warrior Wolves get opponents in the CAF Confederation Cup and CAF Champions League for 2015.
It is 3 days to Christmas, but it does appear that residents of Gombe State would be mourning following a deadly attack which left 19 people dead. The blast occurred at about 11 a.m., a time when the park was filled with passengers commuting to various parts of northern Nigeria for the Christmas holidays. An eyewitness account had earlier put the death toll at between 25 and 30, adding that the attack was carried out by suspected female terrorists. But the spokesperson for the police command in Gombe State, Mr. Fuaji Atajiri, also said that 19 people died, while 25 others are currently receiving treatment at the hospitals in the town.
Gombe State may not be among the northeast states under the state of emergency, but it sure has gotten an unfair share of attacks by the militant group Boko Haram.
There was a blast early this morning at the Motor Park. When the blast occurred, the police cordoned off the area, offered aid to the victims, and took the injured after aid to the hospitals, and the dead were also evacuated to the hospital. As I talk to you, the people are going about their normal business and without any hindrance.
The first time Gombe State was attacked was in January 2012 when a church was hit by the group. 6 worshippers were killed and 10 others wounded. On December the 4th this year, another tragic event occurred, this time in Bajoga town in Gombe State. Gunmen arrived there in 6 Hilux vans in the early hours of the morning, shooting sporadically, and scores of people were killed. Despite the attacks, the Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, told journalists in Abuja that the war against terror is being won.
This is the time for affirmative action.
Gombe may be a new target by the Boko Haram group, but constant attacks have been on in major cities and council areas in Borno and other major towns in the northeast, and life has now become unbearable for the people.
The number of internally displaced people in Borno is about the highest in Africa. We have up to 2 to 2.5 million of our people displaced. Some are in Niger Republic, some are refugees in Cameroon, and a lot of them are dispersed across the nooks and crannies of this country.
This year alone, over 3,000 people have died in the war against insurgents, with the military making clear promises of winning the war.
Well, it's no better news from Bauchi State. Nearby rescue operations are set to be ongoing at the central markets, where an explosion occurred this evening, just as traders were closing for the day. Firemen from the Bauchi State Fire Service are reportedly battling to put out the fire triggered by the explosion, while the place has been cordoned off by security operatives. Bauchi State Police Public Relations Officer DSP Haruna Mohammed told Channels Television that the police commissioner in the state has visited the scene for an assessment, but could not ascertain the number of casualties or extent of damage as rescue operations are continuing. Meanwhile, the state's governor, Issa Yuguda, has condemned the blast, describing it as barbaric and aimed at disrupting the peace in the state. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Michael Adeyemi, the governor gave the assurance that the security agents are working round the clock to avert a recurrence. Meanwhile, scores of people are feared dead in Gaidam town, Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, after militants attacked the area yesterday. Gaidam is located about 180 kilometers from Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, and 18 kilometers to the Nigeria-Niger border. Residents of Gaidam town who spoke to Channels Television said the attackers, who came in large numbers, launched a sustained attack on the community around 4:30, lasting throughout the night. It was gathered that the divisional police station in the area, the local government secretariat, and the Gaidam Central Markets were burnt by the attackers, who also reportedly looted food items as well as other valuables in the market. They were also said to have destroyed some telecommunication masts in the area. The State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Marcus Danladi, confirmed the attack but said he was not authorized to speak further on the incident. Nigeria's former Foreign Minister, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, has advised the presidential aspirants of the PDP, President Goodluck Jonathan, and that of the APC, General Muhammadu Buhari, to strive to ensure the safety of lives and property in the face of a possible breakdown of law and order. In an open letter to the two presidential candidates, the deputy chairman of the 2014 National Conference also suggested some conflict control measures to manage the violence that he believes will erupt post-election 2015. According to him, the certainty of violence after the 2015 elections is higher than it was in 2011, even as the illegal importation of weapons into the country has reached alarming proportions. A portion of the letter reads, "One of my low moments during the just concluded 2014 National Conference was when, in an attempt to break an impasse, I painted a grim picture of devastation which would follow a breakdown of the Nigerian state, to which a delegate between 45 and 55 years old replied, 'So what?' I thought to myself, here is a man who would probably run away to a neighboring country at the boom of the first gun, but was callously indifferent to the fate of the youth, women and children who would be caught in the middle." He proposed that the two presidential candidates meet and sign a memorandum of undertaking that will commit both a civil and peaceful campaign, devoid of threats, a commitment to preach peaceful elections to their supporters, and a commitment to control their supporters after the elections. He also appealed to the Sultan of Sokoto, the Emir of Kano, the Oba of Benin, the Oni of Ife, and the traditional rulers in the country, members of the clergy, past heads of state and elder statesmen, to facilitate the pre-election meeting between the candidates, the preparation of the memorandum of undertaking, and as a council of wise men to assist in managing the post-election conflicts. Returning now to politics, the People's Democratic Party has denied that party members are leaving the party following contentious primaries in the states. The national secretaries of the party, Professor Wale Oladipo, at the national headquarters of the party said that the PDP is actually gaining new members. He also explained the party's campaign plans for the presidential, legislative and state elections.
There is no mass exodus from PDP. I can assure you of that. Take it from Sokoto to Kano, we are gaining members. Yes. Take it from Rivers to Niger, we are gaining members. If you go to Oyo State, of course, in politics, you win some, you lose some. For instance, when a governor decided to take our mandate in Adamawa and take it to another party, God in his infinite mercy retrieved it from him and gave it back to us. What the party has done is that we have inaugurated a national campaign council. I mentioned it in my speech. It is the National Campaign Council that will sit down and now constitute committees for the presidential campaign, for the governorship campaigns, for the senatorial campaigns, for the House of Reps campaigns, and for state constituency campaigns. We have a system in place in PDP. And you know, in a party like this, where you have an agglomeration of political bigwigs, a party that doesn't belong to two identifiable past leaders who are still masquerading as present leaders.
In part two, after the break, federal lawmakers seek strict conduct of teachers qualifying examination to stem mass failures in schools. That's in a moment. Please join us again.